Grace and peace, everybody. We are back. I told you last night on last night's show that if there was a winter event here in Georgia, that I would get on and live stream about it. I also said that if anybody sent me any rationale for what is the deal with this bread, eggs, and milk, that I would come on and do a live stream. So I have to be honest. I have to do exactly what I said. Shout out to Eladio for not only sending me one or two, but 3 different articles explaining the phenomenon of eggs, milk, and bread. So I said I'd jump on because I'll bring it on real quick. We have a winter advisory here in the metro Atlanta area. And it's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. So it's supposed to be super cold tonight. There's a possibility of rain. So the super cold and the rain means that my kids are going to still be at home with me tomorrow. So, and they're not going to the studio with me. I'm like, come on, man, this is crazy. So, actually, I think my wife's at home too. And I think about it. Yeah. So actually the whole posse's here. I might be going to the studio and, I might live stream from the studio, hold up in a corner somewhere. But, I wanted to shout y'all out because we did find out about this bread, eggs, and milk. But I think last night we talked entirely too much about French toast because this morning, Chief Executive Secondborn made the largest batch of French toast I've ever seen in my life. She took an entire loaf of bread, chopped it in half, and made I don't know how many pieces of French toast. I have no idea why, but her and her sister enjoyed the French toast. They said, oh, good, we can have it for breakfast this week. So they put them in little serving dishes and put it in the freezer. So I guess bread, eggs, and milk came in handy. But there are several articles that Eladio shared with me, so shout out. It does make a lot of sense, though. It does make a lot of sense. Don't tell them that, Susie. Please don't tell them that. Please don't tell them that, please. And a good friend of mine is here too. Please don't tell them that because they will all be in here in a minute. I know it. So I can hear them in the kitchen so that they're not far from me. So I do want to go over this. But first, I want to make sure because I had to move my microphone today and take it to the studio. So I just want to make sure that I do, in fact, sound good. It seems like I do because nobody said that I don't. So I'm going to assume that I sound okay. And we'll just roll with that. Yeah, they were making, Chief Executive Secondborn was making, she had French toast going like a little, as if we were selling it or something. It was crazy. I just said, I don't know what's happening here. I just walked away. Like, no audio issues. Thank you so much, Eladio. Thank you so much. Grace and peace. So I just can't believe it, man. I just can't believe it. Because I said last night, if anybody sent me an article about what's going on with this bread, milk, and eggs, that I would read it on the air. And lo and behold, the article was manifest by video in my email box soon thereafter. So let's pull this article in. And this is going to be a fun episode. Look, I am not talking about anything serious. So if you're here to look for serious conversation, I just want to let you know up front, this is not it. I'm not going to be serious today at all. I just thought it was interesting to find out about why do people buy bread and milk before a storm? For the life of me, as long as I've lived here in Georgia, I've never understood this. And I have to admit, though, I didn't do like a deep dive scientific study on it. I just asked other Georgians, why do y'all do this? And they're like, I don't know. They just do it. So as you could probably already guess, the rationale is a lot less nefarious than what we imagined. It's really just out of habit. So during World War II, when food rations became commonplace for U.S. citizens, there was always a 10-pound sack of sugar hidden at the back of my grandmother's clothes closet. She never divulged her reason for keeping it there, but her children always suspected she was afraid her stockpile would be discovered, which was a very real, although not entirely rational, fear. All right. So I think we already know where this is going. It's an irrational fear of something. And yes, in fact, that is what the problem is. Because my friend here who came to visit us said, "Oh yeah, I need to go to the grocery store." I said, "You should have went before you came, because you know what's going to happen." She's like, "Yeah, I should have went before I came." So I thought her and my wife were going to go run to the store, but I don't think so. The relationship between humans and food is seldom uncomplicated, and it doesn't always follow common sense. Amen to that, especially when there's a storm on the horizon. Stopping by the grocery store to stock up on food is storm survival 101 for many people. I don't understand it, but that is true. And most of us have seen evidence of it. Shelves bare of staples like bread and milk. Although a shortage of these items in general is a rare occurrence in the U.S., it can happen when a superstorm is in the forecast, and local authorities advise constituents to buy extra supplies before the storm hits. And of course, on many levels, this makes sense. If you're homebound because of weather, you'll need something to eat when you don't have access to restaurant meals or a local market. That makes perfect sense. I totally get it. At issue, however, is a seemingly unavoidable urge to stock up on perishable items before the storm hits. If that's the thing, like, these are perishable items. Bread, eggs, and milk are perishable. That's the part. Like, I can understand non-perishable items. Totally get it. That's where I think I just cannot make the connection. If you're buying multiples of milk, yet fully expect your electricity to go out, there's probably an emotional rather than practical motivation at work. Or if you don't even drink milk. I think Taylor ended up using like buttermilk because her sister bought some buttermilk last week for some recipe that she was making. And I think she used butter. She used every bit of milk. She used heavy whipping cream. She used buttermilk. It was crazy. But you know what? It's all done. Nothing to go bad. And that's not the only conundrum people encounter when stocking up on milk and bread and other perishable items before a storm hits. They simply buy too much of a good thing. The universal truth about perishable items is that they have an expiration date. Amen. And if you buy them in abundance, you may not be able to consume them all before they expire. Most perishables, like milk and bread, will only last about a week. The same is true for most fresh fruits and vegetables. So if you're expecting to be homebound because of a storm for only a few days, why buy so much food that's sure to go bad? All right, and then down here, again, to the psychology of stockpiling, which I thought was comedy gold, because it's so funny how we make decisions based upon what the news tells us, what we think is going on in the world, so on and so forth. So rain, sleet, and snow. There's milk in the refrigerator and bread in the basket. I don't know why they don't mention eggs, though, but that's beside the point. In the next article, they do talk about eggs. This may sound a bit like a delivery mantra for the U.S. mail service, but it's actually a tactic most Americans employ during severe weather. Rain and sleet and snow. There's milk in the refrigerator and bread in the basket. I've never actually heard that. And this behavior offers clues as the motivation driving them. The compulsive desire to stockpile perishables isn't always based on logical behavior. Amen to that. The thought to get milk before a storm is followed by the action or compulsion to go out and stockpile it. In one way or another, we spend a lot of time and energy trying to feel in control, and buying things you might throw out still gives the person a sense of control in an uncontrollable situation. That is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. Though I do believe that happens, that's got to be crazy. That is just bananas. That is bananas. I'm just looking real quick. And if you're rolling through here, this is not a serious conversation tonight whatsoever. We're just having a good time, because I did tell everybody last night, if somebody sent me an article about why we stockpile bread, eggs, and milk, that I would read it on the air. Shout out to Eladio. He did, in fact, not only send me 3 of them, and so I got to go ahead and do it. And plus, Chief Executive Second Born made French toast this morning. Go figure, right? I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. All right, let's keep this rolling. Said Lisa Breitman, the New York City-based psychotherapist who spoke in 2012. In contrast, filling your cart with cans of beans and tuna or any selection of non-perishables sends a message that you expect the storm to keep you homebound for an extended period. Although practical, non-perishables are a psychological admission that you've surrendered to waiting out the storm and its aftermath. Perishables are about optimism. Wow. So that's why. Though I disagree with it, I'm like, that is the dumbest thing. I can totally understand it though. Yeah, I totally understand wanting to feel like you're in control. There is no question about that at all. I am guilty as charged. I will always try to leave the house, even if we're got 3 inches of snow, 3 feet of snow. I don't care. I'm gonna try to leave the house at least once because I just want to feel like I can do it. Yeah, that is wild. Okay, I love it. Buying perishables is like saying the storm will be over soon, and I won't be stuck in this situation for long. Get my little colors out here. Colors. Got it. All right. Said Judy Rosenberg, PhD, a licensed clinical psychologist in a private practice in Los Angeles, with whom we spoke in 2012. The internal motivation for filling the refrigerator with perishable items may have another root as well. That is so wild. I never thought about why do they do perishable items instead of non-perishable. That is so wild. We are all in the habit of buying perishables like milk and eggs. We rarely buy milk over here at Whitaker Park. Like I said, we'll buy heavy whipping cream. They do like creamer for their coffees and teas. But yeah, we're not big milk people. We are going to buy eggs though. So it's not uncommon for us to have more than a dozen, maybe even more than 2 dozen eggs in our refrigerator at any given time. I think we used up quite a bit today though. So we're probably short. We got to run out. Rosenberg said, adding that few people easily change their routine, even though it no longer makes logical sense to follow the same course of action. We all like the feeling of normal routine. Buying perishables and doing the normal routine makes us feel safe and comfortable, even though circumstances are dangerous. Again, I can totally get that. I can't argue with that. All right. There's also a possibility that we hope to help others with our stockpile. That's never been my thought, but I can understand it. These altruistic tendencies may cause us to have excess on hand just in case others need it. If we have plenty on hand and others don't have time to shop, at least we can offer them food while they weather the storm, Rosenberg said. So instead of buying bread and milk, what should you be buying? Okay. And they go in, and I left the links to these 2 articles down in the description of this video. They go over some pretty neat things that you should be getting, and I thought they were well worth it, and I'm gonna leave those for you to check those out. All right, let's see what kind of shenanigans going on in the comment section. Yeah, she used buttermilk, I think. Susan is crazy. His chief executive second born. Really, Shara? 50 pounds? I think you might be joking, but then again, you might not be. That's a lie. We're having a discussion about tea now. I love it. Really? I'm definitely not a beans person at all. All right, let me see. Looks like some great family reunion conversation going on here. Good to see everybody. Again, this is not a very serious conversation at all. I'm just poking fun at my city because we have a winter weather advisory, and I'm calling bupkis on it. I don't think it actually needs to happen, but no milk, but whipping cream and creamer are necessary. See, I agree. Now that I can agree with his servant. Oh my gosh, on purpose? I actually have never eaten an MRE. I've heard mixed reviews on them, but I've never had an MRE. Wow, that's a lot of beans. Okay, let me pull this last one in. Again, I just thought this was a neat discussion because, again, though I've just kind of done like a non-official, non-scientific question about this, asking people about it, I actually never have actually dug into why in the world do we do this? This is always weird to me. Like, why do we do this? Because, I mean, Georgians will lose their minds about bread, eggs, and milk. And I'm like, why do we do this? This doesn't make sense. All right. Reasons why people buy bread in a snowstorm, according to psychology. And this is from 2022. When the weather and forecast predicts snow is on the way, before dreaming of hot chocolate and sledding, most people immediately gasp, then run to the nearest Piggly Wiggly before the stores run out of bread. It's such a common phenomenon that North Carolina TV meteorologist Brad Panovich even uses a bread meter to let his viewers know how bad the winter weather will be. Nashville's 4 News puts buy bread and milk on their winter weather panic-o-meter. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. The folks at the AccuWeather believe it all started when the northeastern United States residents who are used to cold weather. It appears that New Englanders can take credit for this purchasing of milk and bread prior to the storm. I don't know where eggs came from, but even in that, like, what are you using it for? So if you're from the New England states, we're blaming you all for this. It was monumentalized in the blizzard of 1978. So I was 4 years old. That trapped many in homes for weeks. That gets at least some credit for the current tradition. If you survive being trapped indoors for weeks, it makes sense that you might want to stock up on perishables for the next predicted big storm. Wow. I wonder what blizzard that was. That's crazy. They said for weeks. That's like plural. What the world? In some parts of the South, snow, I love how they put quotation marks around snow, because we here in the South, that is true. We are very, very finicky about what is called snow here. And it's not the same snow that you all experience. Usually means a light dusting that lasts about a day or two. I'm so embarrassed because it's so true. Yet the impulse remains the same. Go to the grocery store. Why do some of us need to stockpile supplies? Like it's the great blizzard of 1888 all over again. It turns out there are psychological reasons for wanting to stockpile or stock up, please forgive me, to feel in control. That's kind of similar to what we read in the last article about being in control. While none of us control the weather, when a storm is brewing, psychologist Lisa Bratman, I remember her, suggests that people may buy supplies to feel a modicum of control over their situation. The thought to get milk before the storm is followed by the action of compulsion to go out and stockpile it, she explained in How Stuff Works. That's the article we just read. In one way or another, we spend a lot of time and energy trying to feel in control. And that is our problem. Amen. And buying things we might throw out still gives the person a sense of control in an uncontrollable situation. To feel optimistic, psychologists, and we talked about this already, so this is definitely part of that article that we read earlier. To eliminate fear. Now, this one we didn't hear. Alan Stewart, a researcher at the University of Georgia, shout out, go Dogs, believes childhood experiences or weather-related trauma drives the need to load up on bread and milk and other essentials before a storm. I don't get it, because I never did that until I came to Georgia. I never did. But okay, let's keep going. It probably is fear of, one, not knowing how long the event is going to last, or two, do people have everything they need? He said, so if the weather service and the media want to prepare people get milk, bread, and eggs. There we go. These are just things that we get every few days. We don't get those every few days. I know my family's weird because we do not get that every few days, but I can dig it. And let me just say also, shout out to Southern Living, because this little ad over here in this corner is super distracting. They were making a hamburger and it was really looking good. Shout out to you, shout out to you. Because now I'm going to use the hamburger meat that's in my refrigerator tomorrow to make a hamburger. And I'm not going to have any bread because Chief Executive Second Born used the bread to make French toast today. So there's no bread. So I'm going to have to wrap it in a lettuce leaf or something. I don't know. Stewart also points out, to prepare for fun times, Stewart also points out that the impending snow doesn't have to trigger panic. If you like snow and have good childhood memories of sledding and snowman and hot chocolate, the idea of snowstorm can seem like seem romantic and perhaps even a good reason for excitement. Okay. I remember after the last big snowstorm here in Georgia, I went to Ace Hardware and I picked up sleds and a snow shovel. And I promised my girls, I said, we will never have to use these. And those snow shovels, I mean, those sleds are still in our garage. They have more dust on them than they have anything else. And the likelihood is that they're not going to get used tomorrow either. But we will see. And not just for the prospect of eating bread, milk, and eggs and French toast for days on end. She found during one of the city's worst snowstorms, beginning November 24th, 1950, an article on local newspaper referenced milk as the one shortage that has hit all sections, and bread as being doled out in some stores because of a storm that ultimately brought almost 3 feet of snow. And here's some recommendations. I thought this was kind of cool. Some other things to get besides bread, eggs, and milk. You know, get your water, your non-perishables. I like how they just remind you that eggs, bread, and milk are all perishables. Flashlight and batteries, sanitation products, blankets, extra cash, cell phone chargers, and then they give you a complete list right here. And these articles, the Forbes article, the How Stuff Works, and the Southern Living are linked in the description if you want to check them out for your own reading pleasure. Thanks so much, Eladio. That was a lot of fun. And okay, I mean, there's a psychology to it. I can dig it now. Now I know. Okay, checking out. Clearly, my chat is doing what my chat does, and they're talking about what they had for dinner. What's going on, K-Dub? Good to see you, brother. Grace and peace. Really? In Texas, all the milk and eggs? I was literally going to go to the grocery store, but I wasn't certain that they were going to call it, and they didn't call it until like later. I was like, oh, I could have went to the store and did like a little update from the milk aisle and the bread aisle. The bread rack probably looks pretty sketchy at my grocery store. Man. Let's see what we got here. It looks good. Whoa, what's going on in the flood? Wait. Mental note, bring extra covering in case the NYC subway becomes over flooded. What's going on with the NYC flood? I don't know where I'm feeling like I might be missing a conversation, but that's always good. Thank y'all so much for that. Now, I do have a serious conversation that I do want to discuss. I think we're going to turn this into a video for tomorrow. It's on Dr. Umar Johnson, Jermaine Shoemaker. And I don't know. He says some things about a particular celebrity's widow that bothers me for some reason. And I kind of want to talk about it, but I started out saying that we weren't going to be a serious conversation. So I don't want to shift into a serious conversation, but I might, because it's my show and I might do that. Okay, I got you. Oh, yes, I have heard that. I wonder what that's about. Why New York subways get flooded? I don't know if they were doing that before. It seems like something fairly new. Yeah, this is why they're not. Yeah, same thing here. Local school districts are not going to open tomorrow because of potential ice on the roads. Yeah, that's what's happening here in Georgia as well. I mean, I love my city. But we be coming up with some reasons. Boy, we be coming with some reasons. So we will see. Yeah, I have heard that about New York City. I wonder what's going on with that. I don't think it has to be like a freak storm. No, it can't be just everyday storms. It has to be a pretty serious storm, I would think, right? I hope so. I hope it's not a regular occurrence now, because that would be terrible for real. Oh, what is this? All right. Okay. All right. You know what? We're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. Because it's from Atlanta, of all places, right? So Jermaine Shoemake, talked about him before, also affectionately known as Dr. Umar Johnson. He's a very polarizing character. He says a lot of stuff that I don't think is appropriate. He says a lot of things that I feel misrepresent I think what he wants to convey, the message he wants to get across. A lot of the time he scuttles what he wants to get across to be bombastic and really unentreating. So this is an article, and I really want to point out something here. I know I said we weren't going to be like super serious, but then I do want to be a little bit serious about this topic, because I think it goes to show part of the problem that happens in the critical race theory, social justice, when you make ethnicity literally a god, when you make ethnicity your skin color, your phenotype, when you make it a god, this is what actually happens to you. You put yourself in a position where, like Umar Johnson. So I'm gonna read this title to you. Dr. Umar Johnson claims Vanessa Bryant has not used Kobe Bryant's money to support the Black community after his death. And I'm sure you're probably going to be doing the exact same thing that I was doing when I read that. Like, why is she responsible to the Black community? She herself is a woman of Mexican descent. But even more than that, isn't she responsible to her family? Isn't she responsible to the people in the Kobe Bryant Foundation, those persons that are her extended family, and those that are actually employed through the organization? Isn't she responsible to continue? I mean, because they want to eat, they want to be taken care of. Isn't she responsible to do that? Why is she responsible to the Black community? Then the next valid question I think would be asked is, what is the Black community that she's supposed to be propping up? What is it that she's supposed to be doing, Dr. Johnson? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's read what he said. Dr. Umar Johnson has struck a nerve with social media users following his appearance on the Joe Budden podcast. The episode, which premiered on Christmas Day, saw the Pan-Africanist supercharged as he accused Vanessa Bryant of flagrantly using her late husband Kobe Bryant's fortune to further an advancement of white communities. And one of the things I've pointed out before is this notion that you are responsible to a community, not to your family. And I just want you to think about how many times family is used compared to communities is used in this article. The staunch critic of interracial relationships accused Vanessa of being like other white women who marry Black men, but do little to nothing to uplift the Black community. Here goes again, Black community. What is the Black community that she's responsible to? The mother of four is a Mexican American and was with the Los Angeles Lakers franchise player for 21 years and married for 19. Okay, so here's Vanessa, here's Umar. I'm pretty certain that I feel comfortable in saying that Umar's real issue is that she was not willing to give him money for his fraudulent, fake, and phony school that he's trying to do. That's going to be my little 2 cents where I'm going to stand. But let's keep going. As widely reported, Kobe, along with his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, and 7 others perished on January 26, I think that's supposed to be 2020 helicopter crash. I don't know what happened there. He was survived by his wife and 3 remaining daughters, Natalia, Bianca, and Capri. In his argument against the widow, Johnson stated Vanessa inherited his wealth. And guess what? Is Vanessa Bryant using any of that black man's money to do any good for the black community? Absolutely nothing. Oh, okay, got it. Absolutely nothing. At the time of his death, the NBA Hall of Famer had an estimated wealth of $600 million. In February, she was awarded $28.85 million settlement in the lawsuit filed against the Los Angeles County over photos taken at the scene of the helicopter crash. Notice how many times the word family has not been used yet. Still not even a word family at all, but we've used community multiple times. But let's go. This is Chris Giddens, and he mentions here on Twitter, I lived across the street from the community center in North Philadelphia, predominantly black, where Vanessa Bryant had the courts fully remodeled and for the kids in the area. People just be talking to talk. All right, so clearly this is a basketball court in North Philadelphia where Kobe Bryant was from. That I guess the Bryant Foundation, by way of Vanessa Bryant, had repaved for the kids in the community. Pretty cool. Okay. Dr. Umar accuses Vanessa Bryant of not using Kobe Bryant's money to do good for the black community. Again, black community. What about her family? Like, is she responsible for me? Or is she responsible to her own family? I don't want Kobe Bryant's money. I want you to do whatever you're supposed to do with Kobe Bryant's, with that money, and be a blessing to your family and your community. I don't understand why Umar Johnson does this. And it's kind of gross to be attacking this man's, especially on the heels, on the 26th. So it's about 10 days away from her celebrating the 4th anniversary of her husband and her first child dying. And you're going to dig in about she's not giving money to the black community? Maybe it's that failed school of yours. Vanessa reportedly donated her $16 million portion of the settlement funds to the Mamba and Mamacita Sports Foundation, okay? The organization, which was renamed the Mamba Sports Foundation after Kobe and Gianna's death, hosts basketball skills and academics for underserved youth and provides sports and funding for schools and various leagues. Okay, that seems like a decent, I don't know how that would be a bad thing. Johnson continued in his rant. Vanessa Bryant just started an initiative with 3 predominantly white colleges, some sort of sports initiative with Kobe's money and Kobe's name. Didn't choose a single HBCU with a black man's money, he stated. That's so gross. All right. And some of these are like copywritten, and I don't want to get my channel copy strike today. I'll leave a link to this in the description as well. You're welcome to check it out. I don't have the patience today for a copyright strike today. I'm trying to get back. All right, the University of Kentucky, University of Connecticut, University of Southern California, University of Oregon, Duke University, and Louisiana State University basketball programs were named as participants in the inaugural Mamba program in the fall of 2023. Okay, so what? I think Umar Johnson, man, the guy he can't get out of his own way. But let's continue. The partnership between the foundation, Nike, and universities provided the teams with custom uniforms featuring the Mamba logo, Kobe sneakers, and other apparel for the 2023-24 season. Okay, cool. The arrangement is a business deal that intended to increase the brand awareness of the Mamba line of shoes, not a charitable contribution like Johnson suggests. Like, why is he a contributor in this discussion? He's not adding anything to it. He's not an alumni of any of these schools. He doesn't sit on the board of any of these businesses. Why do people even listen to this guy? The social media personality hit back with expecting white women to use black money to help black people. How is that unfair? When called out by a podcast co-host, Ish, for being unfair in his judgment of Vanessa. First of all, she's not white. She's Hispanic. She doesn't come from clearly words don't mean anything to Mr. Johnson, because he called her a white woman when she's clearly, We can see right here. I mean, she's a woman of Hispanic origin. Like, what are you talking about? I guarantee you he's asked for money for his school and nobody wants to help him. That is what I think happened. Johnson's criticism was met with backlash, and rightly so. I mean, you can't go everywhere preaching other folks need to stay out of black business. But when Vanessa Bryant does, since she isn't black, now she's part of an example because that's black money. Read a tweet. Another person posted, that ain't Vanessa Bryant's job. Her job is to take care of her the family with Kobe Bryant money. That's the first time they used family in this article. He don't know what kind of money talk they had before his passing. Dr. Umar just don't need to mention Kobe at all. Johnson has acknowledged the blowback and from the guest appearance by continuing to share IG posts promoting his upcoming speaking gigs. All right. I just want to get that one out of the way. I said I was going to talk about it today, so I thank y'all for listening. Appreciate you giving me some of your insights there. Thank you so much. All right, let's see what we got here. All right. Grace and peace, Christian Bridges. Thank you so much. Yeah, I don't understand like how that's unfair to use an inheritance. Because again, you don't know. Maybe Kobe said use this money in a certain way. It doesn't matter. Like, just it has nothing to do with you at all. But I think it is adorable. I am going to do another couple videos on Umar Johnson and his school, because his school, boy, oh boy, oh boy, that thing is a mess. And he's been trying to start a school for better than a decade. And every so often he reports that it's done and it's ready. But then next thing you know, the same thing that was needed before needs to be done, like the HVAC system. It's crazy. So I'm going to probably do a video on that real soon. Actually, I have all the clips ready to talk about, so we'll do that soon enough. But I just thought this was really gross in light of a grieving woman telling her that she needs to do certain things with the money that, she's responsible for. I'm sure if there's a foundation, there's definitely more than 10 people that she hires and that she's responsible to basically feed and take care of. And is probably even more than that. If he has a shoe line and all that, come on, man. Get out of that woman's purse. Dr. Umar Johnson, get out of her purse. Get out of it. Stay out of it. If you follow me on Buy Me a Coffee, I will make sure that you have access to that video much sooner than later. So I'll probably do that one real soon and drop it for you all to check out and get your feedback. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. Hopefully, wherever you are, you're not having a winter event like we're having here in Georgia. Trust me, I do believe it's probably the best because our streets are not prepared for ice. Our drivers are not prepared for icy conditions. So I'm totally with that. I'm not making fun of it at all. I am making fun of Georgia, though, because we get real special. Thank you, Susie. Grace and peace. Thank you so much. Check me out and Buy Me a Coffee. Become a member. Help me out. Follow me over there. Oh, now that is a very true statement, Gerald. Extremely true. That's so true. Now, I don't do much on Talcum X, but yes, he is as well. Sean King, absolutely. Fun fact, Sean King went to my college as well. We be putting out some stuff, man. Atlanta must be stopped. Atlanta must be stopped. But everybody, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. This was just a quick live. It had no real focus, no real purpose. I just wanted to talk about the winter event, talk about why we clamor for bread, eggs, and milk. I might go clamor for some bread, eggs, and milk real quick. And I also want to talk about Umar Johnson. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much. Prayerfully, the channel will be back monetized. Hopefully YouTube will be gracious to me and say, hey, give me an early birthday present and let my channel be monetized again. But no matter what, follow me on dearwokechristian.com. Follow me on buymeacoffee.com/dearwokech. Those are some great ways to stay in touch with me, as well as get information when I'm doing new things and so on and so forth. So thank you again, Susie, for posting that. I really do appreciate it. And you better make some French toast. We should have like a French toast. And we do have the Pinterest page. Come on, like what's going on? Put your French toast on the Pinterest page. Crazy. All right, what do you say? You get your bread, eggs, and milk all at once in that French toast your awesome daughter made. There you go. I see what you did there. I see what you did. So that'll be in the morning. So we're going to be stuck here. So I might as well just enjoy it. Enjoy the time. So everybody, thank you all so much. I really do appreciate you. And Lord willing, we'll do it again real soon. Everybody take care. Have a fantastic night. Stay warm. And I'll see you again. Grace and peace.